Welcome to Brothers in Boots. My name is Jeff.
My name is Mike.
Today we're going to be talking about Jeff's favorite leathers, following up Mike's favorite leathers recently, maybe the previous one or maybe one before that. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do it now before you forget. I'm going to be wearing a new cowboy hat this episode, based on a previous episode that we did. Thought it'd be a cool hat to wear. Picked up a Resistol 4X Beaver cowboy hat. Model is called the Tycoon. And let's see, this week's bourbon. Is it a bourbon? Yes, it's a bourbon. It's going to be a Nulu. On one of the picks that I did, it's a 108.4. And again, I'm using a different glass than usual, one that's made specifically for Kentucky bourbon, called the Kentucky Bourbon Trail glass. It's shaped specifically for bourbon. It's got a bigger mouth opening to it, and it doesn't collect quite as much. And for some of the bourbons, usually some of the younger ones, it works a lot better. For collecting the nose without it being too much.
Give him the good old proof burn.
This hat that I'm wearing is going to be getting a different hat band. It's actually strangely appropriate, though, for the episode, considering how much I love bison boots.
Spoiler alert.
I'm going to be getting a braided Kangaroo leather band soon. I ordered one, but I actually put it on a different hat, so I'm going to have to order another one. So this episode is not going to be quite as organized as Mike's. Are you drinking anything tonight, Mike?
No, I'm not.
Let's see.
I have to work in the morning, unfortunately.
So do I. I didn't organize this one anywhere near as good as Mike's. This is a more stream of consciousness from Jeff, but I'll mention things as they've occurred to me and the whys for why I like them, or no, just the whys for why I like them. The Horween Waxed Flush is one that I really like. It is CXL rough out, but it takes away all that lottery stuff, and it does get a nice wear, a nice patina to it pretty quick as the wax wears off. It's plenty waterproof, and you can always mat it back down and take away that rougher look if you want, so you can control pretty easily how worn in or how patinaed that it looks. So I really like that about it. It's not particularly thick, but it is more than thick enough. Even though I do line it with leather at times, with calf skin. For my work leathers, of course, it's Seidel. Great leather, great price, holds up. Lots of wax, lots of oil in it. It requires very little care. So it's certainly my favorite for work leather. I have some others that I could wear for work and occasionally will wear for work if it works out that way. But that is usually the way that it goes, is the Seidel is my work leathers. CF Stead Kudu is certainly another one of my favorites. As Mike said, and I didn't consider it this way, it can be used as a work leather. I use it for casual. It doesn't show anything to it because it's already got so much damage to it from what the animal did while it was alive. So it's a good one for not showing wear and being able to do whatever you want in it without thinking about it. I wish we saw more colors of it, more availability on it. I would really like to see black. honestly, because I wear a lot of black. And even though I know they make it, I haven't. The only place that I've been able to find it where I could actually use it at this point, it's priced out. It's an Indonesian builder, and bringing the kudu in prices it out because it ends up costing them more to obtain it because of where they are in the world. And I can end up getting a better leather at that point for the same price. So black kudu has not worked out for me yet, but I am hoping that someday soon I'll end up with something in a black kudu. Tallahassee makes my list for color availability.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has as many colors as they do. So if I'm looking for a different color, if I'm trying to create a certain color pattern for something specific, Tallahassee is where you're going to end up turning often to get that color.
Totally.
It is a great leather all the way around, but it is not one that I would pick for personally for any reason other than colors. I know that Mike disagrees with that just the littlest bit.
That's the reality of it. I mean, this is your list for that perspective. I mean, not everyone's into the, super unique, super textured. Some people want the plain solid colors. There's nothing wrong with that.
Merriam Horse Rump Reverse is extremely high on my list. I have several boots being made out of it presently. It's kind of magic to me because even though it's a rough out and it hides a whole lot of damage for that reason, it at the same time looks like a lot of smooth leathers do. So it kind of looks like a smooth leather and hides a lot of damage at the same time. To me, it kind of makes it an ultimate leather. So that is certainly extremely high on my list. I suppose it's a premium, of course, but it does make my list early on as one of my favorites.
It's one of the best black options out there too. Like if black leathers are your thing, black Pueblo, black kudu, and black reverse Merriam are kind of the pinnacle of like not flat blacks. Like it's not a stretch to say that it'll have a very similar look to the hat that he's wearing.
Good comparison. Horween Dublin holds a special place for me. This is really only the second time you're going to see Horween on my list. I'm not the biggest Horween fan, even though Horween is the biggest name that'll come up for a lot of people, especially the beginners. I really like that wax flush, and I really like the Dublin. I like the veg tan of it. I like the character of it. I like the way that it looks a little bit broken in right off the bat. The character is really nice. So I definitely have some Horween Dublin builds in my future.
It's got a very
Law
rustic
Bison.
look.
Again, the bison there. I love bison. Bison has long been a favorite leather of mine. I love the character of it. I love the way that character hides scratches and stuff, and I don't have to worry about messing up that new pair of boots when I'm wearing them. Character is phenomenal. The strength is phenomenal. It's not a work boot really. It breathes very well, which is great for me personally, because my feet do tend to overheat, run on the warm side. The bison does breathe very well, and that's great for me. But that breathing does mean that it does need to be conditioned a little bit more often.
Yep. I'm a big fan of bison. Unfortunately, I've sold most of my bison pairs except for my 2 blue Palisades.
To pick some more up. I thought you sold one of those Palisades.
I sold the Bighorn Black Cherry and the Bighorn Olive. One was a Renov, one was a Frank's. Or sorry, a Nix. One was a Nix, sorry.
The bison's got great colors, in addition to just being a great leather on its own with great texture. The way that some of the colors work out are incredible. We both got the Palisades blue. It came out excellent. I don't own it yet, but the cognac looks really super cool to me. The blue looks very cool to me. Just a lot of the colors just really work out great on bison. The way that the character of the leather works with the colors really just amps it all up.
I'd really love to see the Palisades run a red or an emerald green again. They've only ever ran those two colors once. I think Wesco made a pair of engineers out of the green, emerald green, and then I've seen objects made of the red, but I've never seen any boots made out of the red.
Oh, I recently got my hands on a piece of Law Bison Natural. I don't think it's Palisades. Is it in the office? A second.
Okay. This commercial break is brought to you by Jeff's Empty Chair. That's a Herman Millen Orion.
No, I didn't have it down here in the office. But I did get my hands on it. It supposedly didn't work out really well for whoever the customer was supposed to be because it accepted dirt and changed its color too easily. It didn't hold on to its color very well.
Yeah, I can see that. Once again, bison's super breathable, so the lighter, more natural colors are going to be super susceptible to that unless they use any kind of paint style pigment that's not aniline, it's pigment based that can help clog up those pores to stop that from happening.
But it was a catch-all that I was going to show you that got made for me by a buddy. It came out great. I thought I had it in the office, but sorry about that. Maybe I'll try to make sure it's around for a future episode to show it to you. Another on my list is Wicket and Craig. Mostly the Latigo. I'm a biggest fan of their Latigo. I do look forward to a natural if it ever comes to fruition. I think the Latigo is a perfect leather for me as a casual. I do, of course, have the zucchini green that we talk about, and I do really like them, but I bought that more for the color.
Yeah.
As far as their leathers go, if they had that color in the Latigo, I would have picked it as a Latigo. Their Latigo stands out to me as being their premium option.
It definitely is. They do have a Meadows, I think is the name of it, version of the double stuff that's kind of close to zucchini, but it's definitely more olive. I think it's called Meadow.
And I was going more for the Irish.
Yeah.
Shinky horse rump is high on my list. I like Shinky quite a bit, both their horse rump and their shell. It's a little bit more rare. It's harder to get. It is stiff. It is thick. The Shinky shell I have coming in a dress shoe right now that I think it's going to be perfect for. And I have it coming in an engineer that I'm hoping to kind of wear as an in-between or a dress shoe and everything else that I wear.
Everything, so, not weddings and funerals.
Yeah, if I'm an event where I should be wearing dress shoes, but I'm hoping to get away from wearing horseshoes, the Shinky shell engineers is what I plan to try and get away with. But other than that, I am not really a shell fan. It's too fancy for me. It doesn't roll quite right for me. It's expensive. So I do try to stay away from the shell, generally speaking. I do like it more than the Horween. I think Horween costs too much. I think it's a little bit too stiff, a little bit too thick, and a lot too expensive. So Shinky shell definitely edges it out for me.
And to be fair, Shinky shell's not cheap. It's the second, third most expensive shell. It's just half the price of Orwing. That's really the key difference there.
Shinky horse rump, I love the character. I love the honeycombs that come out of it. So Shinky horse rump is certainly high on my list. It is stiffer. It is harder to break in. But as we know, usually the things that are harder to break in are the things that end up fitting the best. Just have to work your way through it. Kangaroo, I don't actually own any. I used to own a lot of it in nicer cleats that I owned. So I would like to own it. It only makes my list because I actually remembered it from Mike's list. I hadn't really thought about Kangaroo much recently. It had gone off my radar. It's not available enough. Would love to own a black Kangaroo. Because black is what I end up wearing most. That's where I aim. I would love to see a black Kangaroo. And if somebody that I want to order from gets it in, I will be ordering a pair.
Yeah, it's a nice. I hate using paint sheens, but it's not a satin. It's like an eggshell sheen for like paint in a house. So it's that nice kind of perfect. It looks protected, but it's not shiny.
Ostrich has always been high on my list of leathers that I love. It's got a great character to it. It's unmistakable to anything else that I have seen anyway. I guess there's got to be some other animal that quills get packed up in a way that's noticeable, but nothing that I can recall seeing.
Not like that. And even a lot of the other super unique leathers, like kudu's unique, but there are other forms of deer that look like it. And I didn't notice until recently. I always thought elephant was quite unique, but you can actually get something that looks just like it in African wildebeest that you won't be able to tell the difference between the two. So,
seen some. I didn't realize. I don't think I've ever mistaken it. Maybe I should give myself some quizzes or look closer.
Yeah, when I was
one that surprisingly, you could certainly tell the difference because of patterns, but one that actually looked shockingly like elephant to me was giraffe.
Yeah, it's a close one too. I saw a pair. So at Flora's going away party. For those who don't know, Flora's moving to Canada from Oklahoma, but at her going away party, a bootmaker was showing me a pair he was working on that, everybody mistaked for elephant. And then at the end, he told everybody, he's like, by the way, this is African wildebeest. This is not elephant. And there was a lot of high-end custom bootmakers there that were fooled by it too, myself included. So I mean, you can get wildebeest that looks just like elephant.
Ostrich is one that falls into a category of last specific or looking better with certain lasts than others. Ostrich to me does not look good on a work boot. I've seen it on work boots. I appreciate what it is, but I can't say that I like it enough that I would ever want to own it at all. So it would have to be one of the narrower toed boots.
Yeah, P&W think toe 2 or smaller.
Yeah. But I've owned many pairs of ostrich over the years, cowboy boots, and I definitely hope to own more. I just haven't worked out at the moment where that's going to be, what last it's going to be, who's going to make it for me. Elephant is another one that has long been dear to my heart. I bought my first pair of elephants when I was 18. And I went back to buy another pair like 2 years later. And that's when they had hit that endangered list where you couldn't get it anymore. And all the prices had like tripled or quadrupled on elephant, even stuff that they had already had in stock and hadn't sold through yet. So that made it a lot harder for me to obtain elephant. It did go back down in price. It is still endangered, but they've worked out ways now where they can ethically get the elephant hide by working with the authorities, and they watch the elephants. And when those elephants are getting near death, there's almost people that are like watching them and waiting. And the moment that that animal has died of natural causes is when they're given permission to go in and harvest the hide and whatever else from the animal. So any elephant you see out there is, at this point, has got to be ethical. You'd have to find something that was made 30 plus years ago for it to even remotely be possible that it's unethical.
Yeah.
So
the hides are,
yeah,
the hides are fucking huge too. It's not like you're getting like 15 to 20 pairs of boots out of a single hide. They're massive.
So elephant's always been near and dear to me. I definitely have another pair in mind. I know what they're going to be. I know where they're going to be from, but I have not pulled the trigger yet. So I sold my last pair of elephants about 9 months ago. It's definitely a hole in my closet, right? And when I do get them done, they're going to fit into the hand-dyed category. I've decided that they're going to be brindle. So I'm going to have them hand-painted as like a black and a brown working together as a brindle. I've got really high hopes in my head of how incredibly fantastic it's going to look. Never seen it.
Yeah, which is usually either a really good sign or a really bad sign.
I mean, the hand painted is not something that everybody is able to get their hands on. So that might be why I haven't seen it. Hoping.
Yeah, well, once again, when you get into especially like that, the edge of good to bad is the thickness of a playing card. It's very easy to tip one way or another.
Mistake. Like I said, I know exactly what I want it to look like. I know the hide, I know the builder, I know the toe shape. It's going to be a narrower toe shape like the ostrich. It's another one that I feel needs to be on a narrower.
Now, I've seen that one go both ways. I've seen some fatter elephant toes that look decent enough. It's not... I have seen 2.5 to 3 inch toes on ostrich that literally look like, man, did that bird have Down syndrome? And I have seen elephant in a 2.5 to 3 inch toe that it looks just fine. But I do think, just like kudu, that is a hide that does benefit from maybe not like a 1/2 inch to a 3/8 inch toe like ostrich, but definitely at least under 1.5, which puts it not quite number 2, but pretty squarely into that number 2 toe shape.
Stingray is another one in my top 3 of favorite exotic hides. I have a Stingray being built for me presently. Stingray is known for having a line area of white pebbles in its skin.
Look like gas beads almost.
Are usually put in the vamp, in the center of the vamp. That's where it's, I guess, supposed to be. I'm really big on supposed, and I do not like it.
Yeah.
The Stingrays that I have presently that need to go up for sale soon is in that center vamp area, but it is not as stand out and noticeable as usual, which is why I specifically picked them when I bought them. The Stingrays I have being made for me right now, the white ones are going to be in the backstay, up the back. So because it's considered a prominent special thing that people look for, it will be there. You pull up my pant leg and say it's here, or if they're on display, it can be seen. At the same time, it's not going to be in the center of the vamp. I just don't like that look. It is a favorite leather of mine. It's extremely strong. It can be used as sandpaper. It's virtually 40 grit sandpaper. When I bought my first pair back in the day, the cowboy store, boot store where I bought them had these big wooden church pews. And the sales guy actually introduced the Stingrays to me by turning them over and sanding sawdust off of the church pew. Tell me how strong that this leather was. It worked.
Yeah.
Because I've owned several pair, and like I said, I have another pair being made.
Just don't drag them across your fine wood floors.
That stuff can be dangerous. Might be considered a weapon.
Super useful in a bar fight. Go ahead and have them add a knife sheath too while you're at it. So after you get done sanding off part of their face, you can stick them in the side, get them between the ribs.
Herbal mention. Chloe shell in that natural crust. Going back and forth on this more times than I can count, and we talked about it in the previous episode with Mike and his likes and dislikes. By the time the next episode comes out, I may have decided I want a pair again. Now it's in the no category. It is so white looking. It is so light. And I find it hard to believe that it wouldn't win the Dome. Anybody is looking for something cool and exotic to win the Dome, and you've got the money, you should get the Chloe or the Ricardo shell and see how much you can fuck them up. I don't see how they don't win. I can't. I don't. Place or 8th place or whatever you said.
He's in the top 10, and his pair went under a stunning transformation. They almost looked like tanned human skin by the time it was done. Like, it was a very peachy human color with tons of 3-dimension. And I remember that year stuck out because the second place winner looked like a pair of boots that didn't even look worn at all. Now, the number 1 boots that year were a pair of Fortis, if I remember right, and they were very nice. But I remember the second place pair, I think it was a pair of Benzines, and I do remember specifically thinking that pair does not even look like the person wore it at all. Looks like they just conditioned and brushed it every day.
I were ever going to enter that Dome is 100% what I would do. I would feel confident that I would win something. It's really cool. For a short time, like I said, it's gonna just run past that its coolest possible look, gonna fly right past it like a freight train.
Yeah,
and then you've just got a boot that, I mean, it may or may not be comfortable, but no longer looks real special anymore.
Yeah, and a little bit more anecdotal, sprinkle a little bit more anecdotal experience on top of that. That's basically what happened to Dale. Is once he got done with that Dome, he got the boots, the pair that he liked it, where they were at patina wise, and he really doesn't wear them. He's gotten to the point that anything he's going to do to him at this point is just going to fuck him up.
Size is Dale?
9 or 9.5 E. Somewhere in that range.
Would be in a 55?
No, it was in Renav's A13 last. It's a little bit flatter last. It's got some arch, but not a lot.
Do you own any 55s? What size is he in 50?
I think he's 8.5 in the whites 55s that he has.
So that's it. It's only a 25-minute episode. I really blew through this. I should have slowed down on some of these and discussed them a little bit more. Was there anything that you wanted to add here?
Yeah. Overall, Jeff's list is built off of a, for lack of a better term, less crazy person's spending habits in terms of what has been tried, right? There is no normal person that would walk out and see a collection like Dale's, or even a collection like mine that's not even at 25, and be like, that's a normal person. Like, I have my stuff kind of sitting out to where you can see it in the living room of the basement, and when people come over, like, oh, do you sell boots? No, I don't sell boots. Huh, that's kind of a snippy answer. I was like, yeah, go fuck yourself. It's silly, but so there's always going to be like a limitation from that perspective to a certain extent. The one thing that he didn't specifically stay aloud, which was most of those later leathers are grail leathers. He didn't really do like the high value grail. Most of the stuff is really his grail list overall. And that's a fine way of looking at it. I don't always think the approach of trying every leather possible is a good idea. Someone has to do it. There has to be one or two people that at least get a good enough handle in categories so that we know that it's been in a pair of boots that's been worn. But the one thing I will caution viewers of is it's not always I would say most of the time it's not a good approach to go in being, hey, I want to try all the leathers. I want a boot in every leather. And there's two really major reasons to that. Number one, owning a boot in every leather is nice if they're in similar lasts and similar patterns, because then you can really feel the difference of the leathers. But if you're doing a different boot in a different leather and a different builder in a different last, a pattern and a style for each one, you really don't know if it's the pattern that fits your foot well or the leather at that point. So you do have to do fairly consistent builds with a less than 6 model pattern to really test leathers out, right? We've got to have some kind of control to this, even though no one wants 29 or 30 or 36 or 48 to try out all the leathers Wilshires from Frank's. You're not going to be able to do that. That is the correct way to test it, but you're not going to want to do that. And that's a really big call out here.
Scientific is the word here. Scientific experiment. And you have to have controls in order to be able to recognize what you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pitfall. I don't know if we've actually said it out loud in this channel, but it's a big pitfall to think in terms of the Pokemon collect 'em all type mentality. You can't have a boot from every builder. Can't have one of every leather available. You can't even have one of every color available. You have to, things that you have to decide that you're going for. There's certain outfits that you're going to have to be going for, or certain personalities you're going to be looking for, or matching your wardrobe that you need to be looking for. And if you're going to try out all those leathers, they do need to be in a specific kind of boot that you've decided that you like, in order to be able to figure out if it's really comfortable and it's really going to wear well.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before where, when you find a leather you really like, don't go buy 5 colors of that leather. It's not really a great way of doing it either, because you do want some ability to try. But the key here is, and I'm not telling anyone to stick to 5 builders or 7 builders or 12 builders or whatever, but at minimum, when we're comparing 2 leathers between each other, at least make sure the patterns and the lasts are somewhat similar. That's the key part. Like, at no point of any of the leathers that I talked about the comparisons on did I compare a monkey boot to a cap toe or a plain toe. I only compared the leathers that I have in the cap or plain toes to the cap or plain toes. If I have it in a monkey boot, I only explicitly compare it to monkey boot options, so on and so forth. And it's just because, honestly, almost all leathers fit better in a monkey boot. That's kind of the purpose of the model. As long as you haven't fucked up the sizing so bad that you get waves and folds, a monkey boot's always going to fit better. That's just the reality. So that's a big deal, because where some leathers are very good with that conformity, that wrapping, that flexing to the laces to really fill the void, some leathers want to roll and twist, which is way better in a plain toe, but not better in a monkey boot or any of the kind of lace to toe styles. Also, some leathers are really good doubled up, some aren't. Monkey boot lace to toe styles are going to fucking suck for doubled up leather, because that boot is nothing but doubled and tripled up leather pretty much everywhere. Yeah. So these are the kind of like things that matter from that perspective a little bit, is, in all the stuff that I've compared, if you've noticed, like, man, Mike compared this leather a lot and that leather a lot, but he didn't really compare it to this leather, even though they're kind of in the same category. Well, it's because I have the one sets of leathers in one style and the other sets of leathers in the other style, and I'm not mixing their how well they should fit across the two styles, or how well they conform or flex or move.
That is something that both of these episodes actually mostly missed, with the exception of when we brought up the elephant and the ostrich. We mostly missed comparing these leathers that we like to the various styles of boots that we like. We could have gone in and said, I like this for this and that for that and so on, and we actually didn't do that at all.
Yeah, and that is something that we could do. I have them kind of mixed between the styles enough. The only stuff that I have that like is not completely style mixed is Shinky, actually. I have it in engineers and I have it in plain toes, in plain toe-ish styles like mock toes and stuff, but I don't actually have a lace to toe Shinky, and I do not have a monkey boot Shinky. I mean, those would be fucking terrible styles to do Shinky in, but like I don't actually own those. And that, kind of leans back into it. Now, in my case, like I said, most of my Italian leather is going to be in the monkey boot style, because that's, by the time we could get the Italian leathers, most of what I was ordering. But I do have the Italian leathers in cap toe styles as well. Like Badalassi, I have the cap toe and the Estencia, even though most of my Badalassi is in a monkey style. So that is a reality.
I would have considered your blue Shinky as a monkey if I thought that you were going to have enough. And I'm probably glad that you don't. It might have been a mistake. Monkeys to me should be smooth.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's possibly just a stupid hang up in Jeff's head, but I feel like it should be smooth. I personally would never do a bison monkey, as an example.
Yeah, I don't have
much as I love bison.
It could work out well, or it could really suck. Some of the bison's pretty thick for some of the tripled up layers in the patches.
I've seen bison monkeys that I thought looked great. I've never seen a bison monkey that I ever want to own.
Yeah, I always thought they look kind of chunky.
But some little bit. And my only issue with bison has been when a company stretches the last really hard and it stretches out all of the texture. I feel like that's a shame.
It does happen. Goodyear welt machines do it a lot on like the sides of the boots as it's going up under the arch and the lateral and medial side of the foot towards the heel area. Really commonplace for the Goodyear welting machine to overstretch. So a number of brands have done that. Of the P&W builders, both Whites and Franks do pull the law extremely hard compared to the other guys. Though that being said, even the Nix law is pulled pretty hard, and a lot of the toes have been pulled almost smooth too, especially if there's elastic under it. I've never seen JK do law, so I couldn't tell you.
I haven't done law.
No. So
I mean, they do a lot of bison, but their bison is Seidel.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing too. Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't seem like it affects the Seidel quite as well. I mean, it's a simple why it doesn't. The Seidel's not shrunk the same way the law bison is. So, but yeah, I mean, maybe in a future episode, if people are interested, we could talk about what leathers work well for what styles. But once again, I feel like we're going to get into categories like, thick tempered leathers are going to be in this. Thinner leathers are going to be in this. More flexible leathers are going to be there. Like, I figure we've got episodes that kind of cover that. The other thing too is, like I said, well, I think a Shinky monkey will probably suck. I have no interest in ordering one just because of how much extra leather gets consumed in a monkey. Like, you really need like a solid good 7 square feet for a monkey just to be safe.
Point.
Yeah.
Is there anything that trying to think, or anything that I missed that I should have put on my list? I don't like any of the fancier horse rumps other than the reverse. The smooth, like I don't really like the museum, the marbling. Not really big on any of those exotic categories.
Yeah, those are a little bit more reserved for shell and like French calf. And we there's a couple horse rumps we haven't tried. Like I said, I have some of the Chloe Art Fang coming, which is a good Shinky alternative. The jury's out. I haven't really seen anybody wear it. We did talk about Galoon a little bit. Problem with Galoon is there's just not enough in the wild for anyone to really know how it lands long term. I'll have a decent idea here in about a year, but
I went cold on Galoon. And when I first saw the shrunken Galoon horse in emerald green, I got beyond excited. I just thought it was one of the most amazing things that I had ever seen. And the more I looked at it, I thought, this is just a terrible thing to do horsehide. Horse ride is so nice on its own. To make it look like a pair of bison boots. Know what you're doing?
yeah, the
At that point, I'd rather have bison.
Yeah, the metallic colors definitely are what shine in it. But what I've seen of like Dale, because Dale had that really nice pair of that cinnamon color that looks like that real metallic red, and I've seen in like what they look like now on his Instagram, and it looks like most of that metallic color does get beaten away over time. So and it does like we might have talked about this in the other video, I don't remember, but like when you look at Dale's pair on his Instagram from like when he got him till now, I think I could show that boot to people and they'd believe it was law bison and not necessarily horse rump in the current state that it's in. Now, maybe a little bit of conditioning, a little wax would fix that. I don't know. But it is definitely a very drastic change over time. So,
World, this changes. We were sitting here having this conversation 40 years ago, and horse was so cheap it almost be given away. Nobody wanted it. Was used on work boots because nobody wanted horse for anything else, and it was actually cheap. If we were, of course, there were a lot of work horses out there before people were using as much machinery. We were at such a time period, I'd be all over a shrunken horse because it looks awesome and it's a cheap leather. Now, being expensive premium leather, seeing it done to it.
Yeah.
And of course, Galoon is not just selling equality to people that want to buy a quality, saying, oh, well, you got to buy A with the C. You got to buy a variety of hides or to place an order with me. And just a shitty way of doing business. And I don't want to encourage such a way of doing business. I suppose with some of the bigger customers, he might not actually be doing that. with the ones that will do the fun stuff that a lot of people on this channel like, it's not an option. It's not a possibility. And that's like, fuck you. Fuck you. I guess it's just all I have to say.
It's a tough process. The one hide that we were able to get took like 8 months, and it was a C grade hide. It was basically free, and it turned out a decent pair of boots, but it was only enough to do a rebuild. There wasn't enough to really do anything else with it from there. And it's the rustic horse rump style, but not the like heavily flaked stuff. But overall, you've got to be willing to take the A and B hides together. And if you're a, like large scale manufacturing builder that's going to do a run of 50 or 60, sure, that's probably easily doable. But if you're only ordering like 6 hides to have enough to essentially pump out like maybe 12 MTOs, it's going to go from like $18 a square foot to like 24, 25, 26. And that's getting into Shinky prices. So, if I remember in the next one, I'll have the pictures ready for the horse rump that I'm talking about from Dale's Instagram. So,
possibly, maybe I should have mentioned the CF Stead Crazy Cow. I don't own any. Order. Does have a nice personality to it. Do like CF Stead as a tannery. Possibly should be something that's on my list. Just not. I've got areas that I want to cover, personalities that I want, and none of the crazy cows have ever jumped out at me enough to say, you really need that in your collection. You really need to have that to wear with this or wear with that or whatever.
Crazy cows. Yeah, crazy cow benefits from the crazy colors. Like the most famous colors are the red, the green, the blue, the bright as fuck turquoise, the super orange, the super yellows. Like Fortis does a lot of crazy cow. If people want examples of that on Instagram, and it's the wild colors.
If I were to buy a red pair of boots, and I don't get that showy anymore as I've gotten older. If I were to own a pair, there's really, I guess, only 2 colors, 2 leathers that I would consider. I think Law Bison, Palisades Bison, be the number 1, and the CF Stead Crazy Cow would be the number 2. I don't think I would probably have to look at Battle Lassies again. At Battle Lassies,
it's blood red. It's blood red, like medicinal cherry red, fire engine red. The slightly more muted Palisades and CF Stead Samba are much more agreeable to that red. That's some red.
I lived in Texas. I own a pair of red boots. I still went to Washington Capitals games all the time. I own red boots. Presently, I see myself owning a pair of red boots.
No, it's that one's understandable. Red hats are very much that way too. Red hats fucking look cool, but red hats, them's a fucking statement and a half, boyo.
You have to wear it with your red boots.
The most red hats I've seen are more red than the red boots I own. Like they are red.
Speaking of hats, how do you like my hat? Am I cool?
Yeah, let them know in the comments below. I do remember somebody in the past said they wanted to see Jeff in a cowboy hat in the next video. It might have taken like 6 months, but you got it.
We got it.
So I would wear a hat.
I'm not convinced it's me. Personally, I think the brim is a little bit big for me, being an East Coast guy that I am, not being a Southern East Coast guy either. Being Mid-Atlantic, I think this is pushing it. Unless I was going to cowboy night at some local joint, it's probably pushing it for me. I really like the way that it looks. I really like the way that it fits. It is a very nice hat for sure. Not totally convinced it's me. We'll have to see what any comments say as far as whether they think it's me.
Time will tell. It's definitely a style that I like. But, you know, I also get that East Coast is just a little bit more dress oriented, I guess, or maybe business casual oriented, a little less Midwestern. Here, that style of hat is super common. It's the fedoras that are actually way less common here. But yeah, you guys got the hat. Vintage hats are everywhere, and they can be found pretty cheap and actually pretty damn good quality, to be entirely honest. So Beaver has become a lot more expensive. I mean, a few minutes ago I was saying that used to be a really, really cheap hide, and a lot of horse hide went to waste, and it was a super cheap hide, and it was super cheap to use as a work leather. Beaver used to be a lot cheaper than it is as well. It's kind of a comparable conversation. Beaver has gotten through the roof expensive. Oh yeah, you're not going to find a 100% Beaver hat for less than $900, and even then, that's still going to be a tough ask.
When I started thinking about and realizing how expensive Beaver had gotten, my mind was blown.
Yeah. And it's tough too, because a lot of companies do things like Beaver 3X, Beaver 4X, Beaver 5X. Those are proprietary blends. You just know they're Beaver blends. You don't know what the percentages are. No one generally, for a lot of the different ones, knows. The only thing that is 100% Beaver is the 100X Beaver. And like I said, you know, you'll get like some of your smaller brands like Cody, before his shop burned down, did 100% Beaver. I know Wild Hats in Louisville, Kentucky has a couple models will do 100% Beaver. And then like your guys like Y Hats and Blade Hats over in Spain, they'll do 100% Beaver as well. But their 100% Beaver is going to be like over $1,500. And I think the Wild Hats, their 100% Beaver is like $1,100 starting, depending on the model. So yes, 100% Beaver is absurdly expensive.
The X's are kind of gone a little bit crazy and turned into a whole marketing lie to an extent. And so the X's are kind of only as good as the brand.
100%
their reputation.
Yeah, because all of them are proprietary. 5X does not mean 5%. 5X is whatever mash bill, to link this back to bourbon in some way, that brand has come up with in terms of their Beaver blends from whatever tannery they got it from.
So anyhow, I like I said, I think it's a great hat. I don't know how often it's going to make it out of the house. Work my hardest to talk myself into wearing it in public. I think it's gonna. I don't think it's going to make it out of the house all that much. I think it's a little bit much where I'm at.
You just need a nice black leather jacket and a pair of cowboy boots to go with it, or maybe a pair of black reverse Merriam Engineers.
Might bring it out of the closet a little bit more.
Yep.
Any trip I make out south or out west, I will certainly be wearing it, no doubt. I do love the way that it looks. I think it looks good on me, and even the bison is growing on me. When I first saw it, I was just like, man, it's
a cheesy band. Yeah. Hey, like I said, finding vintage hats is cool. I'd be wearing a hat in these videos too, but obviously the headset I'm wearing, I'd need a hat 6 sizes too big to even have a chance of putting it on this. But them's the ropes. Maybe one day I'll get a equivalent quality microphone that sits on the desk or on some kind of boom or something, and that'll be a possibility, but that day ain't today. So no hats and videos for now.
Thought about moving to a boom. I guess I kind of like that this one's doing a good job and is still out of view. Boom would certainly be the next step.
Yeah, well, boom just kind of, it also lets you keep it at view, but kind of lets you move it around a little bit more. I don't know, man. By the time you invest in the stuff you need for them to sound good with some kind of an uplifter, like a Go XLR or a Wave XLR, and then that feeds into the computer and blah blah blah, you really start to talk about a couple extra pieces of equipment that I just don't really want to fuck with when I have a nice shit sound card. And the shit's a brand, by the way. For those that don't know, that's the joke. It's SCHIIT. They make some very high quality stuff, and the idea is like, our stuff is shit. But I have a nice shit sound card, and this is a Bear Dynamics headset. So it does its job quite well, and it doesn't require a ton of extra configurable pieces.
It's like I could put the boom here and have it be out of sight, but that wouldn't really be any closer to my mouth. The one I've got on the side here.
Might just be more adjustable. You could just have a little bit more control over like your volume and your enunciation and stuff. So
I'd be worried about touching the mic in a video, because I've heard that people like to do a lot of photoshopping when you touch mics on camera.
It also makes really loud noise too.
Way off topic. Even more off topic than usual.
Yep. All right, well, comment down below. Let us know what you think of Jeff's list. Charge. Tell him what you think. Tell him what you thought he missed. Tell him what he got right. Tell him what he got wrong. Do the hokey pokey and shake it all about.
That concludes it.
All right. See y'all in the
Thanks
next
a lot,
one.
guys. Please comment. Love responding to all the comments. And let's launch it.